got it. Who are you? What are you doing? Hey, now cut that out right now. That's not funny.
Yeah, I went opening night in Westwood. It was sold out. I was there with my friends, and the crowd was yelling and screaming, and they were really into it. They all had a good time, and this was really this new 3D thing. A lot of the people had never seen a 3D movie before. It was the new wave of 3D. You didn't have that red-blue. It wasn't the red-blue 3D. It was this new process, so the glasses were clear and polarized, and it looked great. And so I think people were really reacting to the 3D a lot, because there's a lot of stuff in the movie which on DVD doesn't play as well, because if it's not jumping out at you, it doesn't mean anything. There's the rat that comes out, and the snake, and all the other stuff that jumps out, and it doesn't mean anything. But when you see it in the theater, it really plays. I mean, it adds a lot to the movie.
I'd met Steve Miner, and in a conversation with him, told him that I'd spent the previous 6 months researching all different 3D methods available for feature film production. And Steve said, I'm about to do a 3D film, and asked me if I'd be interested in doing it. That's how I came to it. I had not done a 3D picture before. I'd been always interested in the technology, and particularly in the storytelling aspect of it. Well, the production aspect of making a 3D film is very different from making a flat film. For one thing, you need all of the backgrounds lit, because there's no 3D without a background, particularly at night. You also need to be very conscious of the physiology of 3D, not to do things in the photography that strain the eyes and make people give up on the illusion, which they do, because 3D is in the end an illusion about suspension of disbelief.
The eyeball, that was a good one. That was, especially in 3D. I remember seeing the eyeball in the theater. That was the first time I'd seen it, and it pops out, and the whole audience just jumped. It was a great. That was a great moment.
The eyeball scene is one that's often commented on about 3D. Well, we didn't have time for tests. The camera system was new. We were evolving it as we went. But I had read someplace in very old literature going back to the 1920s, that things that are lit overexposed slightly, and things that tend towards the red tend to come off the screen. So I overexposed that eye about a half a stop, 2/3 of a stop, and it came right off the screen and into everybody's face.
Hold on!
The 3D was it was my first movie, so I didn't really have a reference point, but everything took a long time. I mean, the lighting just took a long time to set everything up, and I guess 3 times more than any other movie. And that's why the movie took 12 weeks to film, and all the others took 4. I mean, for us, most of the time it didn't affect the actors, except when we were doing specific 3D effects. There's a part where I have to throw the wallet in the store. I have to throw it right to the camera, and that was just, it's a small camera, and I was far away, and it was take after take, and the crew was like, get it, because it was the last shot of the day, and I'm just like, I couldn't hit it. It was.
Probably the most challenging scene in Friday the 13th 3 is the opening scene. The scene of that long tracking shot through the laundry, establishing the store. We had to build a trellis across a highway. We had to track this enormous device, and the Luma crane and its motion control stuff was in a state of evolution just as the 3D camera was. So that was a very, very difficult shot to make, but worth it in the end. Camera system that we used on Friday the 13th, which was the Marx DPIC system, was really at that point not mature enough for this sort of production. So Friday the 13th was the test bed for both a new way of doing 3D and also for a new Kodak emulsion, which had its own problems. We were the first production to use that as well. What followed in Jaws 3D, what followed in many other productions, was all enhanced by the work that was done on Friday the 13th.
Don't look at him. Let's just get the hell out of here.
We heard screaming. Oh my God. Oh, is he dead? Don't touch him, Andy.
Don't move him.
Creep. Oh my God.
Get up. I guess I fooled you, huh?
Shelley is a practical joker, and he brings with him a bunch of things up to the cabin, including a wetsuit and a harpoon and a hockey mask. And so he uses it to scare Vera in the water, and that's the first time the hockey mask is seen. And then Shelley is killed, and Jason takes the mask, and he hasn't relinquished it yet. I don't think they were thinking of part 4, so I don't think they had any idea that the mask would become this iconic symbol of horror movies. I mean, you can show anyone a hockey mask now, and they'll know what movie you're talking about and what character. So it's really become a symbol of horror. But I don't think anyone at the time knew that. Although I did know enough to ask for the mask. I said, "Can I have the mask and take it with me?" And they went, "No."